didn't see you there. Psychonauts was developed by Double Fine Studios back in 2005, and it's one of the last great 3D platforming games of its time. Double Fine Productions is a San Diego video game developer founded in July 2000 by Tim Schafer after his departure from LucasArts. Tim Schafer is responsible for games such as Grim Fandango, Full Throttle, and Brutal Legend. In fact, the story of Psychonauts was originally a plot point in Full Throttle, but was deemed not family-friendly. The development team for Psychonauts was made up of several people that worked on Grim Fandango at LucasArts. Psychonauts was supposed to be released only on the Xbox, but ended up being released on Windows and the PS2. The supposed budget was $13 million according to Tim Schafer. Psychonauts takes place at the Whispering Rock Summer Camp, which is a dark and gloomy camp for psychic children. The story is told from the perspective of Rasputin, an ironic runaway circus freak with advanced psychic abilities. All is well until Raz slowly uncovers a twisted plot by Coach Oleander, the camp's coach, to steal children's brains and use them for his psychic army. Raz must team up with fellow Psychonauts Sasha, Mila, and Ford to expose and stop Coach Oleander. Psychonauts has a colorful, cartoony style reminiscent of A Nightmare Before Christmas. The character designs are unique, and there are no two similar NPCs. Every NPC has their own character model, personality, and voice actor. Every character has a purpose and a mini backstory that's explained in depth. Throughout the game, there are various brains that Raz infiltrates that are rendered in the form of varied and colorful environments. For example, Psychonaut Sasha 9 has a very controlled and organized mind, rendered in the form of a simple cube with memories and thoughts hidden neatly inside. Mila, on the other hand, has her mind rendered in the form of one giant party, mirroring her playful attitude. Many different minds are explored, providing a varied and beautiful gaming experience. The game's protagonist, Raz, went through a multitude of changes and alterations before his final design was decided upon. Originally, Raz was designed to be a mentally challenged ostrich with multiple personality syndrome. Later, he was changed to a human with the name D'Artagnan, who wore a long stocking cap and a thick winter jacket. This design was scrapped because the animators thought the hat would look like a ponytail and also be difficult to animate. His final design was agreed upon as Rasputin Aquatos, a 10-year-old boy raised in the circus. Raz showed signs of psychic powers at an early age, but his father pushed Raz to constantly practice difficult acrobatics in an attempt to cover up his powers. For reasons unknown, a family of gypsies cursed Raz's family to die in water, which is possibly the cause of his father's apparent hate for psychics. An unknown figure hands Raz a pamphlet to Whispering Rock, prompting his escape after his father doesn't allow him to go. Raz is voiced by Richard Horvitz, most well known for providing the voice of Invader Zim. Psychonauts is a 3D platformer, which utilizes various acrobatics and psychic abilities to traverse hazardous environments. Raz can perform a multitude of agile stunts such as walking on tightrope, swinging on trapezes, and climbing. Raz is also armed with psychic powers.
Hey, Jose! You suck butts. Fuck you say?
Marksmanship is the ability to fire a damaging blast of focused energy. This ability was learned from Sasha 9 and is usually used to strike enemies from afar as well as to knock away far over objects.
Hey! Jose! What?
Clairvoyance is the ability to see through the eyes and minds of others.
What you looking at? What you looking at, Chris?
This ability is learned from the insane Boyd Cooper and is typically used for seeing how others view you and is used several times in puzzles. Pyrokinesis is the ability to light objects or enemies on fire with your mind. This ability is learned from Ford and is typically used to damage enemies over time or to burn down obstacles.
I am your sister in grief.
But it's completely okay.
Hey! Your butts, Jose. The fuck you say?
Shield is the ability to protect yourself from damage using a psychic bubble. This ability is learned from the lungfish and is used to deflect enemy attacks.
Need to be made when firing in the wind.
Invisibility is the ability to cloak yourself from enemy eyes temporarily. This ability is learned after leveling up and is used primarily for escaping enemies and solving puzzles.
Hey! Where'd you get that suit? Goodwill?
The fuck you say?
Confusion is the ability to cloud others' minds and disorient them.
What was I doing?
This ability is learned from Dingo and is used to confuse other enemies and often trick them into fighting each other.
Hey, Jose! I didn't know the circus was back in town.
Really? I wanna go.
Well, you're not invited.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Telekinesis is the ability to mentally move an object. This ability is learned from leveling up and is used for moving obstacles and chucking objects at enemies.
Stop fighting.
Levitation is the ability to float on a psychic ball.
Stop fighting, children. Stop it.
Okay.
This ability is taught to you by Mila and is typically used for quickly traversing environments as well as getting to higher places. The combination of all these psychic abilities is used to defeat enemies, solve puzzles, and fight bosses throughout the game. No one ability becomes useless, as certain ones are needed for specific situations. For example, the Den Mother turns off the lights during her boss fight, and Clairvoyance is used to see through her eyes, which are equipped with night vision goggles. Another example is Jasper Rolls' boss fight. You use pyrokinesis to light candles which blind him. Examples of puzzles range from the use of telekinesis to move barriers behind doors and turning invisible to get past enemies and into houses. The developers of Psychonauts really did think of everything. Every character has a scripted reaction to every item, even items unavailable when certain characters are available to talk to. Every single NPC, regardless of importance, has hundreds of lines of dialogue. It can take several playthroughs to hear them all. Another example is Mr. Pokelope, a turtle who need only be transported a few feet. However, one can show Mr. Pokelope to every NPC, each with their own unique reaction. Psychonauts was one of the last great 3D platformers of its time. It was developed as a kids game, but has many adult themes such as suicide, cursing, gore, and every character in the game shows some form of mental illness, some more extreme than others. For example, 2 children at Whispering Rock, although appearing cheery and motivational, attempt on multiple occasions to commit suicide to achieve a higher state of consciousness. One of the characters, Boyd Cooper, displays signs of schizophrenia, and his mind is riddled with government conspiracy and dark paranoia hidden behind a pleasant neighborhood setting.
We work on the road with these red signs.
Many of the themes of Psychonauts are taken very lightly, despite very serious circumstances, and the game has received much criticism for this. For example, a mental patient, Fred Bonaparte, is haunted by a mental projection of Napoleon Bonaparte, his ancestor, after losing several games of a board game known as Waterloo-O with a mental patient. This quirky and humorous story masks the serious illness, which is multiple personality syndrome. The game also features an asylum level, which is incredibly terrifying and almost too real. The difficulty curve of Psychonauts ramps up extremely quickly. It's moderately simple at the beginning, but it begins to challenge you towards the middle, and at the end, it's unapologetically difficult. The final level of Psychonauts will forever go down in infamy for ruining people's childhoods with a both terrifying and mind-numbingly difficult series of challenges that include a number of bosses, time challenges, and minimal checkpoints. This provides an extreme ramp in difficulty that most won't expect, but all will remember. Poor lady. Didn't even notice her kids were stuck in a lawnmower. Psychonauts received horrible sales the first year of its release.
In the years that followed, Psychonauts developed a cult following.
Double Fine has recently reattained the rights to Psychonauts.
Psychonauts has been re-released on online platforms like Steam,
Xbox Live.
and also the PlayStation Network.
An increase in sales plus strong demand for a sequel has really pushed Tim Schafer to consider making one. Recent interviews with Tim Schafer have shown a keen interest in creating a sequel, and it was almost guaranteed when he said, "I'm ready to do it. I'd love to do it. It's really a question of getting a publisher that's interested in doing it." With the state of the game industry today, if you have any care for it whatsoever, you'll stop what you're doing. You go to any one of the online stores, and you'll buy this game now.